Hello, my name is Jim, and I was wanting to make some replies to Paul about the series of videos and so on that he's put out. Paul, you've been very aggressive at putting videos out, and it's hard to keep up. I've tried to reply to the posting videos as they came out, but they came out with such frequency that I couldn't keep up. And this is a series of videos that I'm going to be putting out just with the knowledge that's in my head. In short, I'm winging it, and I feel kind of uncomfortable because I don't have that animated guy that's talking over here that looks like me. I'm just doing things low tech. So you were talking about when you made the step out, that it was lonely. I just wanted you to be aware that I've been there, but going the opposite direction, coming from where you were in to the Christian faith, and that was lonely as well. And I'm sorry that you're having troubles this way, and because we both know about this, there'll be no further on that topic. You talked about isolation, and that's real both ways, and it takes some time for new friends to develop. You talked about how people didn't attempt to engage or debate you. I did at first, but I got the impression from you that you were not open to discuss much, and that's unfortunate. With the abundance of jobs and so little time, it meant that I thought of the videos in my head, and sometimes I wrote some things out, but I never got actually to sit in front of the camera to do anything about it. It got pushed to a lower priority in my life. But others have told me that they've asked questions of you and there's been no reply. So I'm not sure where to go with that one. Right now I want to go historical on you. We've talked about this in the past. When I went to the University of Guelph, they had a statistics course in 1982, and we got access to a computer program called Statistica, and it ran on a CPM computer. It looked like a DOS machine for those that don't know about it that are watching, and the thing is that the operating system predated DOS by a number of years. At the same time that this was, we had the Commodore 64, the PET, and the color computer going strong, but they were not able to run a program like this. The cost was $10,000, and that was more in line with a mainframe program than something that would be running on a personal computer. The color computer games cost $29, and a full featured, top quality, integrated word processing spreadsheet database cost $119. So this thing, you had to book time on it. We used it for statistics while we were in school, and they used it for research. They took some graph paper and tacked it to a bale of hay and took a shotgun and put a blast into it, and they digitized each of the holes and made that as data to be analyzed. That was a random event, and then they sought to do statistical regression on it. So they did linear, power, log, parabolic, hyperbolic, polar, trigonometric on both axes to see if they could figure out which would be the best equation to describe this random series of events. It printed out the regressions as they were found. So each time that it did one, then it printed it out on a piece of paper, and in the end it printed out which it thought was the best fit. Over the years, things have changed. CPM is now free, and Statistica is now free. So why did I tell you about this? Well, there's a lot of confusing information out there on the topics that we're talking about. And setting a story on data doesn't give 100% fit. What is the best fit? You know, we look at atomic models. There's Thomson and Bohr, and then Rutherford and Millikan. They've had different ideas about how the atom was made, and as the inadequacies of the previous model were looked at, then they'd see something and then they would redefine the model. This is what we need to do in order to figure out what's going on with the things that we're going to be talking about. And third, people have different opinions on data interpretation. Some people will look at the data and say it's kind of this shape. So it's going to be not a linear or anything like that. It's going to be polar or hyperbolic or elliptical or something like that, depending upon how the choke was set on the shotgun. And if this was the X and Y axis here, some people will look at it and say it's linear, but if you ignore the data over here. What we have to do is figure out whether we can eliminate the data over there for some reason in order to make it linear or not. And we have a lot of people that are doing that. When people look at the general sense of all the data and they see a circle, and then they just indiscriminately try and get rid of all or most of this in the upper left quadrant and try and get a linear pattern through here, sometimes they shouldn't be doing that. Valid research shows that it can stand the test of scrutiny, and if they need to adjust the model, they can. Health practitioners recently got onto the evidence-based practice guidelines bandwagon, and if something doesn't work, then they don't do it. So the last time that I was to a Paulogia Association convention, someone had presented a new and not tested theory on production of art supports, and he was shouted down by those who were more versed in research methodology, biomechanics, and other aspects of what he was talking about. No, I was not involved in that discussion. I just watched the people behind me yelling at the guy on the stage and vice versa. It was just very interesting to watch these people yelling at each other until the speaker got shouted down. In the same way, there's evidence that I can bring to my beliefs. You know about my examination of the Latter-day Saints and their idea that there is no historical or archaeological support for their story. Language, anthropological, archaeological. Evidence is just missing. In the Book of Mormon, they talk about the plains of Nephiha and currency like a shiblon of gold. It's supposed to be in the heart of the U.S. according to Joseph Smith. This is the area where people have lived for hundreds of years and had been lived in since he was there in the 1830s and 1840s. But on the other hand, we know that archaeologists, even atheists and agnostic ones, will use the Bible to support their digging. For example, with the prophecy of Tyre and Sidon, and also with Jerusalem.